Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Mo Chat Channel. I be Chuck. So how you be doing? You be doing good? Being bad? Naughty? Nice. Anyway, whatever. Put in the comment section. Let me know if you can. Google changes the settings, so I don't even know for sure if you can post a comment or not. If they put in the queue, and unless it's really blatant spam, I'll probably approve it, even if you're being mean to me. But don't be mean to me, because I may change my mind. Yeah, don't be mean to me. I'm in a vulnerable place right now. Don't be mean. Anyway, so in the news, Pat Robertson, broadcaster who helped make religion central to GOP politics, according to this headline in the Associated Press, he dies at the age of 93, and that's kind of sad. I watched him some. I wouldn't say I wasn't a huge fan. But I didn't dislike him. Whether you liked him, disliked him, cool. It doesn't matter. Your opinion is as valid as my opinion. To be honest, I tend to like, and I probably shouldn't say this, but back in the old days, I tended to watch Tammy Faye and Jim Bakker more than Pat Robertson. Because they were more feel good. It was more feel good religion, and as we later learned, it was there was a lot of feel good going on behind the scenes. But Pat Robertson, he was more more of a downer. He was more gloom and doom, more end of the world stuff. At least the times that I watched it, I'm sure there was more to it than that, but it tended to be more of a There was political stuff. They're not wrong on that. There was political stuff. The degree that he actually made religion central to GOP politics, I don't really agree with that. I don't think he had that much influence on the GOP. Did he help Ronald Reagan get elected? Let me see. What does Google say about that? Did Pat Robertson help Ronald Reagan get elected? I think the answer would be no, but we'll see. Did Pat Robertson help Ronald Reagan get elected? No, I think he opposed Ronald Reagan. I think I don't remember the timeline of exactly when Ronald Reagan was elected. See, Jimmy Carter was elected in '76. He lost to well, he lost to Reagan. I'm pretty sure that's who he lost to. See, it was Carter, Reagan, Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Trump, and now Biden. I think that's the order of the presidents. I could be wrong since I wasn't looking it up. But Pat Robertson, he actually ran for president in 1988. See, when was Bill Clinton elected? I think I remember the order right, but I don't remember the dates right. When? Oh, crap. I can't even type, man. When was Bill Clinton elected president? Okay, Bill Clinton was 1993 to 2001. Okay, so Pat Robertson ran against Bush Sr., and that was in 1988. That would be right, because Reagan served 2 terms, and Bush Sr. was his VP. So, yeah, that puts it, yeah. So, maybe he was an ally to Reagan. I'm not really sure. he definitely was not an ally to the Bush family. Well, Reagan didn't really want to name Bush Sr. to be his VP. It was kind of forced on him. He didn't really have a choice. Because he didn't want, later on, like with Donald Trump, at least in appearances, Trump appeared to oppose the powers that be on stuff, and they dogged him every step of the way. Well, Reagan realized he had to work with the powers that be, so they wanted him to name Bush Sr. to be his VP, and so he went along with it. Nancy, my understanding is she really had a fit. She didn't like that. She considered Bush Sr. dangerous to her husband, and she felt like she had to really get in there and protect her husband. And then later on, of course, Hinckley shot Reagan, and to the degree that Reagan continued to actually be calling the shots after that, the media is not going to tell you that there was a potential problem there. They're not going to go back and try to change the propaganda of the time or suggest that Bush Sr. basically took over the presidency after Reagan was shot. To the degree that he did, I can't prove, obviously, and I don't know, but I suspect there was a reason that Reagan was shot. There was a reason that Hinckley was able to get off on basically an insanity plea. There's a reason that Hinckley basically was protected. Now, you can read into that what you will. Obviously, I don't want to make allegations I can't prove. So, but Pat Robertson, he ran for president in 1988. I still stick to that. He did not have that huge of influence on the GOP. I don't think he did. I think Pat Buchanan, I think he had a lot greater influence. And then earlier, Barry Goldwater, who was not religious, he was more libertarian. And of course, he was painted as a total nut job by the media at the time. He had influence, and he had influence on Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, to some degree, carried the water for Barry Goldwater. That's my opinion. I mean, other people may argue a different point, and they may be right. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So Pat Robertson is dead at the age of 93. Is Pat Buchanan still alive? I don't even know that. Let me see. Pat Buchanan. But Pat Buchanan actually, to not be able to be elected, he actually had, and of course he was Catholic, which nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Let's see. He was born in 1938. He's 84 years old. Best I can tell, he's still alive. Pat Buchanan, he ran for president in 1992. Pat Robertson ran for president in 1988. When you look at the people that run for president, that the establishment, the media, the money people basically shut down. Let me get back where I can see actually where I am on the camera, because I know I'm going off the camera at times. When you look at the people, the media and the money people were able to shut down, so they couldn't really accomplish anything as far as, they were just outliers, fringe. They couldn't really get the support that they needed to be elected president. And of course, if they'd been elected president, it would have been similar to when Donald Trump was elected president. But when you realize the degree they were able to shut these other people down, and they didn't shut Donald Trump down. Okay, did they not shut Donald Trump down because they couldn't, or because they didn't want to? Donald Trump presented one face to the public and said things to the public and made speeches to the public. But you look at his actual presidency and what was going on behind the scenes, it doesn't really jive together. It doesn't. Um, to what degree was he just trying to go along because he was trying to shut down these attacks on him? I mean, that could be part of it. Or maybe from the very beginning, uh, there was a plan afoot. I don't know. I mean, I'm just talking here. I supported Donald Trump. You know, you may say, "Well, Chuck, that just makes me hate you that much more, baby," but I did. Back in 2000, I think it was 2011. I actually was talking about the coming Trump presidency because at times, now I don't. This is a difficult subject. At times, I seem to know stuff. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but it just comes to me. Um, that said, I'm not really totally sure about the afterlife. You know what you. At times, I felt like I knew. I know. At times, I felt like it, and I tend to think I do. But then again, at times I think, okay, I could just be wrong on everything, you know, just self doubt. But anyway, 2011, I was talking about the coming Trump presidency. Um, I felt like I felt like other people that was of a similar mind. I felt like that there was a supernatural force afoot that was trying to um, stop Hillary from being president. Barack Obama, he stopped Hillary from being president. There was something supernatural going on. Supernatural? That's just crazy talk, Chuck. And, you know, maybe it is. Uh, but I think to some degree there were supernatural forces at work that put Barack Obama there to stop Hillary Clinton from being president. And I think there were supernatural forces there that used Donald Trump to stop Hillary Clinton from being president. Now, maybe I say supernatural forces, but maybe they weren't so supernatural. Maybe it was the establishment. You know, if David Rockefeller had not been, you know, at the age he was, and he had huge influence in both the Democrat and Republican parties. David Rockefeller was a major power player. He called a lot of shots. To some degree, he ran America. But as he and I'm not going to go into certain conspiracy theories about the role that he played in, you know, and why he helped make Bill Clinton president, or the deal that he may or may not have had with Hillary Clinton. But there's some people believe that there was a deal between David Rockefeller and Hillary Clinton that that she would become president. And maybe after David Rockefeller got, you know, elderly and was dying and no longer could call the shots that he could call in the previously, maybe the other forces at work, the other power players, um, maybe just to show the waning power of, you know, David Rockefeller, maybe they worked to prevent Hillary Clinton from being president. I don't know that. This is just, you know, conjecture. I don't know. It's part of it comes from conspiracy theory type stuff, but I tend to think there are supernatural forces at work right now. But anyway, you know, the main headline is, you know, Pat Robertson, he's dead at the age of 93. I don't know whether this article will come up or it'll be a paywall. I hate the degree that the internet's become a paywall. You know, I need to make money online, obviously, but I don't want to become part of a paywall. There again, I may have, you know, if well, I don't want to go into that right now. I'm talking about Pat Robertson. Okay, this is an article from ABC7 New York, or ABC7NY.com. Okay, and it's probably, you know, an article that's being repeated on different sites. Pat Robertson, a religious broadcaster who turned a tiny Virginia station into the global Christian broadcasting network, tried to run for president and help make religion central to the Republican Party politics in America through his Christian Coalition, has died. Okay, I forgot about the Christian Coalition. He may have had an influence through that. Robert's death Thursday was announced by his broadcasting network. No cause was given. He was age 93. You know, my father died at age 90. Um, health problems built up. Kidney failure, stage 4, heart failure. Um, the main thing that really caused me grief in trying to bring him back, and to save him was he got where he couldn't swallow. Couldn't swallow. That was a nightmare. God dang nightmare. At one point, we were considering doing the feeding tube, but the gastroenterologist, he didn't think it was a good option, and I don't know. I've read some other stuff later that probably good that we didn't do that, but we all have an expiration date, and it's sad and it's heartbreaking. And anyway, he was 93. No cause of death was given. Well, there's probably several causes. When you reach that age, it's usually not just one thing. Robertson's enterprise also included Regent University, an evangelical Christian school in Virginia Beach, the America Center for Law and Justice, which defends the First Amendment rights of religious people, and Operation Blessing, an international humanitarian organization. But for more than half a century, Robertson was a familiar presence in American living rooms, known for his 700 Club television show. In later years, his televised pronouncement of God's judgment on America, from everything from homosexuality to the teaching of evolution. The money poured in as he solicited donations, his influence soared, and when he moved directly into politics by seeking the GOP presidential nomination in 1988, he brought a huge following with him, but it didn't get him elected president, obviously. Robertson pioneered a new common strategy of courting Iowa's network of evangelical Christian churches and finished in second place in the Iowa caucuses ahead of Vice President George H.W. Bush. Well, that's kind of impressive. At the time, Jeffrey K. Hayden, a University of Virginia sociologist and a Robertson biographer, said Robertson's masterstroke was insisting that 3 million followers across the U.S. signed petitions before he would decide to run. That tactic gave him an army. He asked people to pledge that they'd work for him, pray for him, and give him money. Hayden told the Associated Press in 1988. Political historians may view it as one of the most ingenious things a candidate ever did. No. No. You go back to old politics in the South, and I don't know about the other parts of the country, but a lot of politicians, they depended on those tent shows, traveling around, having their tent shows, having people gathering that army of people. Later on, I wouldn't say Trump was following Pat Robertson's strategy. I mean, everybody knows if you get venues, you get people. A lot of the old Southern populists, it was by having basically meetings under the tents and gaining followers, loyal followers through those meetings under the tents. So was Pat Robertson a genius by trying to court his television audience? So, and that's another thing. See, that points to the degree that politics moved from the tent shows to the television. And it's not genius. It's actually kind of disgusting, to be perfectly honest. Robertson started the Christian Coalition in Chesapeake in 1989, saying he would further his campaign's ideas. The coalition became a major force in Republican politics in the 1990s, mobilizing conservative voters through grassroots activities. The grassroots activities, that goes back to the tent shows, canvassing, the roll up your sleeves and get to work. That's not genius. That's the way politics is. In other words, Robertson didn't depend on just that television audience. He went out in the field. You take Jimmy Carter, when he was running for president, he was, religion, born again Christian. He pushed the religion, and that probably helped him. Pat Robertson certainly wasn't the first person to use religion to try to push themselves forward. Jimmy Carter did it. At the same time that Jimmy Carter used religion, he did a Playboy interview, which is a big deal. I mean, even in high school, we had copies of Playboy, the article, because it well, times were different back then. We also could smoke in high school. There was a smoking area for students. That happened during the time when I first started high school. Back in those days, high school was grade 8 through 12. And when my sister was in high school, they didn't allow smoking. But when I entered high school, they actually had a area set up where kids could smoke. Why? Because they didn't want kids smoking in the bathroom. They didn't want kids smoking on the street corners. So they said, okay, it's a big thing. It's not really just about smoking. It's about safety. And so they set up a smoking area. So when Jimmy Carter was running for president, Playboy magazines were brought into the high school. So Jimmy Carter played on religion, and he was religious. I don't doubt that. But he also, like he did the Playboy interview in the magazine, and also if you met him on a campaign trail, if you met his entourage on a campaign trail, it was full of very beautiful women shaking hands. He had an entourage of very beautiful women out there campaigning for him. Jimmy Carter, he knew what he was doing, or the people behind him knew what he was doing. And full disclosure, when I was in grammar school, one of my teachers was very closely connected to Jimmy Carter through one of his staffers, and would later be appointed to office. He was part of the Carter presidency. That's just full disclosure. I live in Georgia. I'm Southern. Chuck, we would never guess from your accent. We just would never have guessed. I'm Southern. Robertson met his wife. This article, and Pat Robertson continued. Robertson met his wife, Adelia Deed Elmer, at Yale in 1952. He was a Southern Baptist. She was a Catholic. Nothing wrong with that. I know. I don't want to get on that. I think there is an issue, but if you try to address it, it makes you sound like you're anti this or anti that. I'm not anti anything. Well, I'm not anti anything. Obviously, if you're doing stuff that hurts you, stuff that actually hurts you, that hurts our society, I'm anti that. But as far as like religion stuff or gay stuff or straight stuff, I'm not against people. Now, if you go out and, if you're a serial killer, obviously, no, don't do that. No, I'm not okay with that. I don't know. I'm going to have serial killers coming to hunt me down. Oh, no, I oppose him. Robertson received a master's in divinity from New York Theological Seminary in 1959, then drove south with his family to buy a bankrupt UHF television station in Portsmouth, Virginia. He said he had just $70 in his pocket, but soon found investors, and CBN went on the air in October 1st. Now that's a pitch man. You've only got $70 in your pocket, and you're able to get enough money to buy a bankrupt UHF television station. Now that's a pitch man. That's a dang good pitch man. I don't know about the religious stuff, but he knew how to do the tent show stuff. He was definitely a good pitch man, because that's not easy to be able to put together that kind of business deal. Of course, he wasn't a dummy. He went to Yale. He and his wife went to Yale. Well, wait. What? Didn't he say he went to Yale? I can't find where it said he went to Yale. Oh, man. I lost the part. I thought it said he went to Yale. Okay, after graduating from, it's right below where I was reading. Now I went way up to the, yeah, just, after graduating from Washington Lee University, he served as assistant adjutant of the 1st Marine Division in Korea. He received a law degree from Yale University Law School, but failed the bar exam and chose not to pursue a law career. He received a law degree from Yale, and yet he failed the bar exam. Huh. I still say he was smart. And he definitely was a pitch man because he was able to put together that kind of business deal. Yeah, who knows why he failed the bar exam. One of Robertson's innovations was to use secular talk show format on the network's flagship show, The 700 Club, which grew out of a telethon when Robertson asked 700 viewers for monthly $10 contributions. It was more suited to the television than traditional revival meetings or church services and gained a huge audience. Here's a well-educated person having sophisticated conversations with a wide variety of guests on a wide variety of topics, said Green, the University of Akron political science professor. It was with a religious inflection, to be sure, but it was an approach that took up everyday concerns. Okay, I'll buy that. His guests eventually included U.S. Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump. Okay, now that points to he did have political influence because they would not have went on his show if he didn't have political influence. So maybe when I said that he didn't have that much political influence, I was wrong. Yeah, could be. Like I'm never wrong. In 2014, he angered Kenyans when he warned that towels in Kenya could transmit AIDS. CBN issued a correction saying Robertson misspoke about the possibility of getting AIDS through towels. I was in 2014? That would seem like something more that would be said more early on. Why would he say that in 2014? That's weird. That was 9 years ago. Robertson also could be unpredictable. In 2010, he called for ending mandatory prison sentences for marijuana possession convictions. 2 years later, he said on the 700 Club that marijuana should be legalized and treated like alcohol because the government's war on drugs had failed. That's interesting. He condemned Democrats caught up in sex scandals. Anyway, he's dead. He did some good. He did some bad. Yeah, he was right on some issues. He was wrong on some issues. He's human. We're all human. Much thanks for watching and listening. I do appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button. And maybe I'll start looking better. Maybe I'll start getting younger. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I'll start getting younger. All right, I got to get off this browser and go back to OBS and shut her down, baby.